My 17-year-old twin brother tried to steal my girlfriend, so I decided to get my revenge. I want to share a story about the time my twin brother Jake crossed a line that he should never have crossed. It all started about a month ago when I was dating this amazing girl named Emily. We had been together for a few months and everything seemed perfect, or at least I thought it was. Now, Jake and I are identical twins, and while that has its perks, it also comes with its challenges. We've always had a playful rivalry, but it had never turned seriously malicious until now. Jake has always been the more outgoing one, the life of the party, while I tend to be a bit quieter and more reserved. But that night, he took his charm too far. One evening, I had planned a fun night out with some friends. I texted Emily to let her know I'd be out and that I'd catch up with her later. As I was getting ready, I had no idea what Jake was plotting. He decided to take advantage of my absence by pretending to be me and inviting Emily over to hang out. I later learned that he had been texting her from my phone, making her believe it was me. When I got home that night, I was excited to see Emily and tell her about my evening. But when I opened the door, I was greeted by the sight of Jake and Emily on the couch, sharing popcorn and laughing. My heart dropped. I felt a mix of disbelief and anger wash over me. How could he do this? "Jake, what the hell?" I shouted, feeling the adrenaline surge through me. Jake looked up, a smug grin on his face. "Hey, bro, Emily and I were just having a little fun. You don't mind, right?" Emily's face turned pale as she realized what was happening. "Wait, you're Jake?" she stammered, clearly confused. I turned to her, my frustration bubbling over. "No, he's not me. He's been pretending to be me the whole time." Emily looked back at Jake, who shrugged nonchalantly. "It was just a joke, man. You know how we like to mess around." But this wasn't just a prank. It was a betrayal. After I calmed down, Emily and I had a long, emotional talk. She felt hurt and confused, and in the end, she decided to break things off with me. I was devastated. I had trusted her, and now Jake had ruined everything. That's when the idea for revenge began to form in my mind. I knew I had to get back at Jake for what he had done. It wasn't just about Emily. It was about standing up for myself and showing him that he couldn't just walk all over me. I remembered that Jake had a crush on a girl named Sarah, one of our classmates who had always been a bit flirty with me. I thought to myself, what if I could turn the tables? So I came up with a plan. I reached out to Sarah, texting her to see if she wanted to hang out. I made sure to do it while Jake was out with his friends, so he wouldn't suspect a thing. Sarah seemed excited, and we agreed to meet at our place later that week. The day of our hangout arrived, and I was a bundle of nerves. I put on my best charm, just like Jake had done with Emily. When Sarah arrived, I greeted her with a smile and invited her in. We started talking, and I made sure to share some funny stories about Jake's antics. I could see her starting to enjoy my company, and it felt good to regain some confidence. As we laughed and joked, I decided to text Jake, pretending to be Sarah. I wrote, "I can't wait to see you later. I'm really looking forward to it." I knew this would make him rush home, thinking he was about to have a romantic evening. Sure enough, Jake came home just as I was finishing up with Sarah. When he walked in, the look on his face was priceless. His jaw dropped and he stood there in shock. "Wait, what's going on?" he stammered. Sarah turned to him, confused. "You're not who I thought you were?" I couldn't help but laugh as Jake's face turned red with embarrassment. "I can explain," he shouted, but it was too late. I had successfully turned the tables. Jake's reaction was a mix of anger and humiliation. He stormed out, and I could see the wheels turning in his head. I knew I had struck a nerve, and I felt a sense of satisfaction knowing he was feeling the same way I had just a few days earlier. The days following that night were tense. Jake tried to talk to Emily, but she wasn't interested. The news about his prank spread through school, and he became the subject of gossip. I felt bad for him, but at the same time, he had brought it on himself. Then, something unexpected happened. Jake confronted me one evening, his frustration boiling over. "You think you're so clever, don't you?" he snapped. You think you can just get back at me and walk away scot-free? I took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. You crossed a line, Jake. You messed with my relationship. I just did what I had to do. We had a heated argument, but it ended up being a turning point for us. We both realized that our rivalry had gone too far, and we needed to set some boundaries. We agreed to a truce, at least for now. Months later, we still joke about that incident. Jake learned a valuable lesson about respecting boundaries, and I learned that standing up for myself can be empowering. While we may continue our playful rivalry, I know that we both understand the importance of trust and respect in our relationships, whether with friends, family, or girlfriends. And as for Emily and Sarah, well, Emily eventually moved on, and Jake and I are still friends with Sarah, but we keep things lighthearted. After all, being twins means we can always count on each other to keep things interesting.